Hey everyone, how you doing? And welcome to another week of Force of Will news. As always, if you're looking for Force of Will singles or sealed product, with the exception of the new set because it's sold out, be sure to check the link in the description below for a happy little hug factory. They're really awesome over there, and they have a bunch of singles. They have a buy list if you're trying to offload singles, and they have sealed product up until you guys buy it all. So make sure to check them out, and make sure you use that link in the description so they know we sent you over. It helps support them and us at the same time. All right, so we had quite a bit happen, some of which we've already talked about in like podcast or something like that, and other things maybe under that, but I'm going to sort of put it all in here. And as always, in case if you guys don't know already, be sure to check in the description, and I have a link over to the written version of the news if you guys can't watch it or prefer to, if you have something you want to check up on and you don't want to rewatch the video, just click that link and it has everything I'm talking about right now, complete with the images and everything on our website. First bit of news is there was a GP in Osaka. So this is pretty interesting GP, and once again, if you want to see the better breakdown of this, go to our website. This isn't in the news article, it's in a separate where we congregate all of our top 8 lists and stuff from GPs and all that. But this was pretty interesting. There was 27 people who attended. The top 3 rulers showing up was 12 time-spinning witches, 5 tigresses, and 3 chimimis. So that was pretty interesting. Top 8 ended up being in order. First place was chimimi. Second place was a tigress panda deck. I'm pretty happy about that. Third place was time-spinning witch. This is also pre-bans, in case you guys are wondering. Fourth place was a fairer deck. Haven't seen him in a long time, and I was happy for it. So, and then I'm not sure if these are in any particular order, but the remaining was Tigress, TSW, and TSW. So 3 of those 5 pandas made it into top 8, and 1 of the 3 chimimis made it into top 8. And then, what was that, 3 or 4 time-spinning witches made it out of 12. So that was a pretty decent spreading, pretty decent showing from those people from the lower showing up rulers, especially having panda in there, which I was pretty excited about. So once again, if you guys want those deck lists and all that, just be sure to check out our website, or I should link it in the description below. Next up, like I alluded to, there was bans. So if you missed my impromptu video, Force of Will has released their bans. It was a couple days early, I'm pretty sure, but yeah, so we got our bans, and so officially Distortion of Time is banned. So this was basically the crux of what made Time Spinning Witch pretty strong, and what a lot of people running Lorites just de facto in their decks was to counter time Distortion of Time. So I'm really happy with that ban. I think it was much needed. It's just too strong of a card and did too much, especially inside of a TSW deck, which is able to play it for a lot cheaper, a lot quicker, and play it more than once, potentially, and stuff like that. So I'm glad that's gone, and we'll see how that affects the meta going forward. They also banned Spirit Stone. So this is the green one where you sack it to draw a card. And so this one was just really strong because it was just a straight banish to draw a card. So you could tap it, produce will, and then banish it still. It worked well, obviously, with the rune that you could, for 2 will, do a bunch of stuff, including bringing back those 2 stones. And just in a monocolor format, is just really strong stones to have in general. They're stronger than any other single color stones in the game currently. So I'm really glad to see that go. It wasn't something anyone was, or at least I wasn't expecting on the outset of a ban, but I'm really glad that it ended up being banned at the end of the day. And in Wander, Gretel was banned, in case you guys are playing Wander, and the main reason for that was just simply because of the enter effect change that they did to Wander. It just made it way too strong and able to bounce it around a whole lot. So I assume that was a much needed ban. If you guys want detailed explanations on why everything was banned, be sure to check out the official Force Will website where they sort of go over why each of one of these was banned. Secret rare cards. So these are secret cards that are released in each set that they start doing with New Dawn Rises, and it's basically 3 alt-arts of 3 SR cards, and the odds of pulling them is like maybe 1 per case, but I think it's technically more rare than that because there are people who've gotten cases and not pulled any. So they're very rare, very valuable cards, and they're cool alt-arts. So we finally got a look of what all 3 of these look like, and you can see as we scroll through the 3 here, but it's Athenia, Zulane, I'm not sure how to say that, and Mistletoe. So I really like all of those alt-arts, especially I really like Mistletoe. I like the look of that. One thing to take note of is Athenia, which is a misprint. It has 1200 defense on the card, but the real card actually only has 1000 defense. And no, it's not a nice buffed card you get if you pull. It's still 10,000 1000 defense, just for some reason it somehow got 1200 misprinted on it, which is super unfortunate because Force Will doesn't really do second print runs, so we'll never have another print of it. It's not like they can do a promo of it because it's a secret rare chase card. It's super valuable to chase, and it's just unfortunate that that misprint happened, in my opinion, but hopefully it doesn't happen again. One other thing I wanted to point out was playmat quality. So if you guys were at your pre-release, one thing that I had noticed, and some other people it looks like had noticed, was the playmats seem to have taken a dip in quality. I sort of showed it on a stream when we live streamed talking about the GP date announcement, which I'll get over to in the news here, but it's just a lot thinner. It flops around a lot. It basically feels like it was made out of some a thin like mouse pad or something like that. And it was most noticeable for me because at our pre-release, our store is really cool and they have a lot of extra mats. So they gave us, some people were able to get pre-release mats from other sets that they just had lying around. And so just comparing them, you would hold one in your hand and it would hold still, and the other one you would hold and it would just flop to the side and have some performance issues. And so it was just kind of unfortunate to see that dip there. And then it could be just me and my playmat, but it looked like it had some bleeding of the ink a little bit on it. Not sure why that is, but compared to the other mat, which was a lot more crisp. So it could be just that the print company they're at now is also able to print the playmats, so they're able to get it all in one place and it's all really easy and cheap. And if that's the case, then fine, you know, that's at least understandable. But if they're still outsourcing to another third party that's not the company that's making their cards, I'd say try and find somewhere else. Because that was a little bit disappointing to get that, and it just felt like half of a playmat essentially, weight-wise and all that. But it was just something I thought I'd bring up real quick. Games of Geek had their GP this past, I forget when now, October? Somewhere around there. And at the time, the GP rewards, like the rulers and all that, were not made yet. And so people who attended didn't have them yet, and now, and as well as the promo cards and all that, but now they do. Games of Geek got them in, so if you attended that event, you should be getting those sent out eventually here. We got an image here of, we have the Brunhild over here, which you can see it's the gold Ubers, and as well as the gold first place plated cards. So really cool looking cards. I really like the way that looks with Brunhild actually. And then, yeah, so just excited to see that, and so be on the lookout for that. Speaking of the GP though, we got our GP dates finally. So, yeah, it took a really long time to get these. Unfortunately, this seems to be becoming a trend of getting them at the very last second. So hopefully it doesn't stay a trend, maybe next year. Maybe it's because they changed stuff up this year. I don't know why last year, but this year maybe it's because they changed stuff up, and next year they'll be fine again as far as actually giving us notice. But we got our GP dates, and unfortunately the first one is only a month away, less than a month now that the news is coming out, or exactly a month, somewhere around there in Las Vegas. But after that, they did a pretty cool thing where it looks like they almost perfectly staggered each GP to be 1 month apart. So every single month around the same time, there's going to be a GP somewhere, or WGPQ. So that was pretty cool. And there's about 8 of them about to happen, I believe it is, if I remember correctly. You can check out the official Force Will website once again, and they have a list of all the GP locations. And once you do, you'll also notice that there is no pricing or formats determined for any of the GPs. So none of them say if they're going to be New Frontiers, Wanderer, Cluster, Limited, anything like that. Which on one hand, as Oscar had pointed out, is pretty cool because it means that there's a good chance we could get other formats besides New Frontiers. It's not a for sure thing that you have New Frontiers. So we could get Wanderer, we could get a Cluster GP, which would be super interesting to see in the US at least, which we've never had before in the US. So we'll see. But the downside of that is people need to buy their plane tickets. If I buy a plane ticket for something in a couple months, which I'm not going to pay for the refund usually. I mean, I guess you would have to in this case, and then it turns out to be a limited event because I didn't know ahead of time. I don't want to go fly across and spend a bunch of money and hotels, planes, all that for a limit. I mean, this is me personally. I'm not a big fan of limited. I'm sure everyone has a format they're not a big fan of, but that's something that's good to know. And conversely, if you're into Wander and you buy a plane ticket for an event and it turns out to be New Frontiers and it turns out there's a Wander event somewhere else, you would have much rather spent all your money to go to that Wander event. So hopefully this is just temporary, and maybe in the next week or two they'll fully release all the formats for all of them so we can start getting our plane tickets and determining where we want to go. But in the meantime, For sure, us at TCG Scrubs will be going to Richardson and possibly some other places. And Robert had said that he's actually trying to secure another GP in California. Didn't say where, just he's still working with the people there. So that would be super cool to see. And that would be one I would probably attend if it's in California and there's enough notice to go to it. And with that, I'll also go over with the GP pricing. So I don't think I've gone over these, at least not all in one place and with the high quality images. So we have our GP pricing, which is our entry promo cards, which you can see here, is Lightning Cave and Glint of Insight. So that's pretty awesome. I'm actually pretty excited about the Glint of Insight promo to get some of those because it's a pretty fun card. And we also got our top 16 promos you can get here, which is Lorite and Blazer. Obviously Lorite's the big money card, but Blazer's also cool to have, and that's going to be running a bunch of decks still. So really cool promos, and obviously those promos, as far as which one of those two you get, varies from place to place, depending on which GP you attend, which we should get sort of information about what GPs will have what eventually here soon. And with all that GP news, we also got some more info on the Games and Geek, which if you guys haven't looked at the website while you're watching this video, Games and Geek is running another GP, 2-in-1 season. And so this one is going to be closer to the end, and it's going to be, I think, in July, and it's going to be a 3K. And so some quick information on that is it's obviously by what I just said, because there's cash prizing. First and second place will have paid invites to Japan, and they will also have stacking. So first place already has a paid invite. They have certain details on how to handle that, so everyone still gets lots of cool stuff, including first place. Third and fourth place get $350 cash, whereas fifth through eighth place get $200 cash. And first through 32nd will also get an exclusive to this event Energized token, which I assume is the Malaysian Asian Energized tokens that we also always see around, which will be pretty awesome. There's a lot of other pricing info and how all of that works. So on the official Facebook event page. So make sure you go on Facebook on Games of Geek. I'll try and link in the description below. If not, it's linked in the Force of Will article linked below, and links to the event where you can also possibly register, but also get a lot of information on the event and its pricing. So that's all the news for today. Hopefully that was enough for you guys to satisfy till next week. Let us know what you guys think below about all that, and we'll see you guys next time.